Hi, I'm Stan Goldstein with Kates-Boylston Publications. As part of our KB On the Road to Live series, I'm glad to be joined by Steve Yarnall, Key Account Manager for BrightView Landscapes. Steve, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Stan.
All right. What specific safety measures and training programs do you have in place to cater to the cemetery market?
Well, Stan, what we tell our teams is, they need to recognize that the cemetery is not a homeowners association or a retail site, which many of our team members maintain. At BrightView, we have to demonstrate our professionalism every day, but at cemeteries, we need to approach it in a different way, in a unique way. The visiting family members come either infrequently or very often, and they're making a personal connection with their loved ones, and that needs to be unhampered by loud mowers or our crews working. So to this end, internally, we have a cemetery etiquette program that we review with each of our employees before they start, before they touch any pieces of equipment or work on the properties. This covers what they do or what they need to do when somebody's visiting in front of a headstone. It talks to them about stopping the machines to remove their hats for a funeral procession. Where do we take our breaks? How do we eat our lunch? Those are just a few of the things that really come into play that the visiting families don't need to know we have in place, but ultimately their visit becomes one where they're in touch with their loved ones, and again, not unhampered by the background noise of landscapers, so to speak.
Right. And what trends or innovations are you seeing in cemetery grounds across the country? And how is BrightView able to assist across the full life cycle of ground improvements?
Well, Stan, labor really continues to be the biggest challenge for all of any landscaper, for that matter. One of the things that we do at BrightView is we script and develop the scripted mowing plans. We want to put our large mowers out first, which allows us to gain productivity. Additionally, where we can, we like to use chemicals such as plant growth regulators to slow the growth on certain shrubs. That helps us reduce our dependency on labor, and it provides more lateral growth versus horizontal growth. Lastly, the technology hasn't been 100% vetted yet, but I see in the future autonomous mowers will be really a thing, and that's going to play a big part in reducing labor costs.
And can you explain to cemetery professionals the importance of an irrigation system and how to ensure it is working properly?
Sure. The turf, it's in need of nourishment, food and water, just like us. Over or under watering the turf, it can be detrimental. Where irrigation is in place, it's important to understand your weather patterns. Not only your weather patterns, your soil types, the types of grades, the changes in those grades and those areas that you're watering. All that comes into play. What I've seen is many of the systems that I've come across are very, very antiquated. They're relying on old technology. The newer technology really takes those things that I mentioned into consideration and allows the systems to feed or water the grass appropriately. Not only does that give you a nicer, greener look, and minimizes the rutting. When you have wet stands of water on the turf, our mowers will rut. But it will also allow you to conserve water if you're tied to city water potentially.
Okay. And for those who run a cemetery, what are some quick wins for their cemetery landscape? What can they do to quickly and cost efficiently make a big impact?
Well, one of the things that I see where we get into trouble, and so I would answer it this way, is don't overplant. Concentrate your color, your high impact areas, color and or shrubbery on your high-profile locations on the site. That could be your main intersections, your main entrances, the foundation to your funeral homes. Give the families a splash of color there, and keep the other areas, the majority of the property, clean and green. Where we see the most complaints, Stan, is where there's not enough emphasis on marker trimming or on the turf weed program, and where we're not seeing enough applications to control the weeds, and the weeds are growing over the markers. If we can keep those areas clean and well groomed, typically that keeps the visiting families very, very happy.
Okay. And what would you say makes BrightView different from other landscape maintenance companies?
Well, in the last 34 years I've been with the company, I think the one thing that we do, quite frankly, really well is that we listen to our customers, and we, based on that input, we continue to reinvent. What I mean by that is, the landscape changes, the client's needs changes, the consumers, the visiting families, their needs, their focus, that changes. We have to listen to those things. We have to adapt and stay on top of the new trends and technology, and that'll help us build that loyalty with our customer base.
Okay, and how many people get in contact with you or BrightView?
Well, we're on the web at BrightView. You can look us up there, but my name again is Steve Yarnall. I can be reached at steve.yarnall, YARANALL, at brightview.com. My telephone number is 215-416-0676.
Okay. And I'm glad you said your name at the end there, because I think I botched it a little bit when I introduced you. So thank you. Sorry about that. Steve,
Okay,
thanks so much. Thanks so much for joining us today. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.